Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Meetinghouse of Provincetown, where we support each other on our spiritual search for truth and for meaning. My name is Shar Priolo. I'm a member of the worship committee. I sing in your choir, and I am serving as your worship host today. Welcome to those in the room, and welcome to those joining us online on our live stream. Also, a very special welcome to anyone attending Trans Week this week. And here in Provincetown, this is the oldest continuous theme week in Provincetown. Originally named Fantasia Fair, this is, like I said, the longest running theme week, and we hope you had a wonderful week for any of you that might have been here for that. This morning we welcome to our pulpit Christine McCarthy. Christine is the CEO of PAAM, that's the Provincetown Art Association and Museum. And she's worked in numerous galleries and museums all over New England. In addition to her love of art, Chris enjoys cooking, fishing, clamming, travel, and spending time with her wife, Yvette. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us today, Chris. Before we go on with our service, I have just a few announcements to share. Thank you to everyone who came out to the Peter Meyer concert Friday night. It was a wonderful time. Yes, thank you, yeah. You obviously had a good time. This Friday is Halloween, and you're all invited to help with our trunk or treat entry in the parking lot and at the Council on Aging or the Rec Department, same building. And for those of you who don't know those names, the old elementary school, from 4:30 to 6:30 this Friday. There's still time to drop off wrapped Halloween candy for that as well. We get about 100 kids coming through, so we go through a lot of candy. And next Sunday, after service, we'll be holding a new members class from 1 to 3 p.m. If you've been thinking of becoming a member here, please sign up at the welcome table downstairs in the foyer. During this 2-hour class, we'll get to know each other a little, learn the history and beliefs of Unitarian Universalism, hear the fabulous founding story of this meeting house here in Provincetown, and share how things work behind the scenes. And don't forget to mark your calendars for the chili cook-off, which is happening Saturday, November 15. That's a really fun event that you don't want to miss. You get a little cup of chili this big, and you say, what's that going to do? But then you go around to every single chili booth, and pretty soon your tummy's full of chili. Then you have to decide which one you liked best. Good luck. It's a really fun event, and you might even want to enter your favorite chili recipe. Thank you to those members who have turned in your pledge forms, the pink forms, for 2026. If you haven't yet, there are still pink forms available downstairs after the service. These help us to create our budget for next year. And finally, if you're here in person today, we hope that you'll stick around a little bit after the service for coffee and conversation downstairs in Acker Bosworth Hall. Now, let's take a moment to affirm our community's covenant. You can find this on the little purple laminated cards in your pews, or you can just echo each line to me. Love is the spirit of this meeting house. This is our great covenant. To dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you. I'd just like to introduce Stephen, a new member of our worship committee. Stephen.
Thanks, Shar. I'm usually one of those people streaming online, so it's great to be with you in person. As we light our chalice here in the sanctuary, I invite those of you watching online to light a candle wherever you are, so in this way we can feel connected even as we are apart. And at this time, I invite Tina to light our chalice for us as I read these words by Leslie Takahashi. Thank you, Tina. All that we have ever loved and all that we have ever been stands with us on the brink of all that we aspire to create, which is a deeper peace, a larger love, a more embracing hope, and a deeper joy in this life that we share. Thank you. And now I invite you to join me in singing our opening hymn, which is number 22, Dear Weaver of Our Lives' Design. That's 22 in the gray hymnals, Dear Weaver of Our Lives' Design. And please rise as you are able. I invite us now into a time of meditation and prayer. During this time, or at any time during the service, you are welcome to light a candle silently at the table to the right of the pulpit, where there is also a journal to record your thoughts and prayers. After our prayers, we will sing together Spirit of Light, hymn number 123, which is also printed on the purple laminated cards in your pews. We'll sing it first in English and then in Spanish. This morning's prayer is a body scan meditation by Laura Stevens. I invite you into this quiet time of getting back in touch with your body. You may close your eyes or let them rest low as you wish. Settle deeper into your body, into this moment. Focus your attention first on the parts of your body which are closest to the earth, the parts that ground you. Starting with your feet, scan your attention slowly upwards. Focus your attention now in the center of the body, where air becomes breath, where what is not you becomes you, where the line between blurs in a flow without ceasing. Scan your attention slowly upwards. Focus your attention now at the top of the body, where feeling becomes thought and thought becomes action, where action begins to change the world. now that we have enjoyed the quiet, connected to our bodies, and noticed how we are connected to the world around us, may we remember that connection with every breath.
Our reading this morning is from Broken Parts Whole by Karen Johnston. I made a beautiful piece of art in a mosaic class this summer, Karen says, but there were times when I was frustrated at my own limits. The teacher used the tools with ease. When I used them, it was clumsy. Still, the teacher showed me how to use the tool. She never offered to do it for me, which meant that by practicing, I figured it out for myself. I also learned that there were two ways for us to turn large sheets of glass into smaller, usable pieces. The intentional precision of a pistol-handed glass cutter or using a ball-peen hammer and a thwack of force. Each method renders very different results, both of which are necessary. The beauty of our mosaics emerged from a mixture of precision and chaos, control and surrender. I had arrived to class with a design in mind, but the further along I got, Transferring the design from paper to wood, the less the mosaic looked like my original drawing, which was all for the better. Vision is essential, but I had to hold mine loosely so the final project could reveal itself to me along the way. From this class, I gleaned plenty of wisdom for life beyond the artist's studio. 1, as much as you can, surround yourself with skillful teachers. No matter what you're learning, let them teach you, but don't let them do it for you. That learning is yours to do. 2, respect the fragments and shards, whether they're multi-hued glass or your own life story. Yes, they offer the occasional sharp cut, but they can offer also beauty and new ways to perceive the world. 3, resist the urge to fully map out the future. Instead, cultivate humility, a sign of strength, not weakness. Find within you the capacity to trust, no matter how small. Grow that. May you get through this life not unscathed, but with all your broken parts available for you to piece together into a beautiful whole. Here ends the reading. Here begins my journey to get the rest of my papers. Now is the time in our service where we take a collection for the ongoing support of this Meetinghouse and for our shared ministry. As we enjoy a musical reflection by our choir, we welcome your donations here in the sanctuary or online through PayPal or Venmo. You can find that information on our website, uumh.org, and there are QR code cards in the pews as well. The ushers are psychic. They're here already. Your offerings will now be gratefully received.
In these hard times, there will always be singing, always be singing. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be singing, always be singing. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be singing, always be singing. In these hard times, there will always be dancing, always be dancing. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be dancing, always be dancing. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be dancing, always be dancing. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be painting, always be painting. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be painting, always be painting. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be painting, always be painting. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be praying, always be praying. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be praying, always be praying. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be praying, always be praying.
Good morning. I want to thank Shar and everyone here at the UU for having me. This is not my usual place to speak, so I'm actually very excited to be here this morning. One of the questions I think that anybody who lives here or has been here is, how did you get here? That's a question we get a lot. How did you get here? My path here was an unexpected path because I was offered an interview at the Provincetown Art Association and Museum in 2001, and I came for the interview because I wanted a free trip to Provincetown for the weekend, and that's the truth. I was invited to come on Portuguese Festival weekend in June of 2001, and it was literally 100 degrees. I think it was actually that hot this past Portuguese Festival weekend, and I was in a suit. I've since retired the suit. My intention was to come. I had a hotel room at Bill White's Motel, which is in the west end of town, and it was something very sparkly that just closed last year. But I was also invited to stay at a board member's home, and her name was Ruth Hebert, and there's probably a few people in this room who remember Ruth. Her father had been the town doctor in Provincetown, and it was pretty old school where he would still make house calls, and a lot of what he did for artists was to swap services. And so when I walked into Ruth's house, which was all the way down Franklin Street, kind of at a dead-end cul-de-sac type thing, I walked in her house, and I wasn't sure, if it was going to be someone with 50 cats, or if I was really, was I really going to want him to stay here? That's why I had the hotel room. And I walked in, and there was art all around, and I didn't know who many of the artists were, but I knew it was really good art, and it was really important art. And I saw a print by Milton Avery that was inscribed, "Thank you, Dr. Hebert," and I kind of knew there was way more to what was happening in this community that I had no idea. And I was supposed to stay one night, and I ended up staying 3 nights because Ruth and I became fast friends, and she was the one who really taught me about what this arts community meant. And I'd been coming here as a visitor for probably less than 10 years because I was living in Boston, but I never really understood the capacity and the legacy of what Provincetown means in the art world. And after my 3 days with her, she said, "No matter what happens, I'm glad that we're friends." And her generosity of spirit and her generosity in general was something that I held very close in my heart. And when I went back to Boston, I was more confused than I could ever imagine, because now there was this opportunity of leaving Boston to come here if I were to be offered this job. But I had now a whole new idea of what I could do, and as a museum professional trained in this field, and it's all I've ever done in my life is work in museums. I grew up outside of Hartford, Connecticut, to an Italian family. Believe it or not, the last name is quite deceiving. My grandparents were wonderful people, and they always introduced culture into my life. I went to the museums, ballet, opera. My grandmother was very adamant that her grandkids and her own kids have culture as part of their life. My family business is used auto parts. I could fix your car too, but I decided not to go into that line of work. And in my grandmother, when I said I wanted to work in a museum, she said, "Is this a field that you're going to be able to sustain yourself and make a living?" And I said, "Of course, yes, of course I am," because I do think optimistically for the most part. And so when I decided that this was going to be my path, and then this opportunity opened up, I went back to Boston completely confused, and I had it still at an answering machine, and I got my blinking answering machine. "This is Bob Harrison, who was the head of the search committee, and we want to offer you the job." And it was in June, and all of a sudden, I was my own worst enemy. Like, should I take this job? Shouldn't I? Should I not? Should I? I was working at the Institute of Contemporary Art, and we were in the process of about to launch a $60 million capital campaign to build the first new museum in Boston in 100 years. I also had a fabulous apartment in Boston, and no one here was helping me find an apartment either, so that was an issue. Pat Schultz, another person who some of you may know, was on the search committee too, and her first question to me in my interviews was, "If you get this job, where will you live?" And I said, "Well, you're a real estate agent, you'll help me find one." And she used to wear these kind of big owl glasses, and her eyes got really big, and she said, "I like you." And these were the people that I first met: Pat Schultz, Bob Harrison, Ruth Hebert, Irma Ruxtel, kind of the old guard of Provincetown, and they took me under their wing when I agreed to take this job, and I gave 2 weeks' notice and moved here in July, which I think about that now, like 2 weeks' notice is like, that's like the worst thing and unprofessional, how dare you, but it was meant to be. And so almost 25 years later, I'm still here, and I'm still doing what I love to do in the most beautiful place on earth. And so, and I think I'm one of the only people that when they say, why did you move here? I actually moved here for a job. And a job that I still love, and a job that I'm very, very proud of. For those of you who were here 20 years ago when we were doing the renovation of PAAM, it was a very controversial project, and I was very naive when it came to small town politics. I thought living in the North End, where I lived in Boston, everyone was really nosy and they knew your business, so I thought I had some good training in that respect, but I didn't realize that change is very, very difficult. And when you come in as a younger person to renovate a structure that's been around for a really long time and make it different, there was a lot I learned. I'll write a really good book someday, but I'm gonna have to probably move out of the country when I do that. So stay tuned and I'll let you know when that's happening. But there are a lot of things that I've learned from working in a creative field, especially in a small organization, which I chose. I've always chosen small organizations because I like the idea that I don't just do one thing and I don't know who works with me, and my hands are in a lot of different pots, and I really, really like that. But these are some of the things that I've learned over my 35 plus years of working in a creative field, that you actually gain a very holistic view of how your organization operates, because there is no handbook. There are no people really holding your hand and telling you what to do. You have to learn as you go along, and I've always been a big believer in kind of a teaching opportunity where my mentors have turned me into a mentor, and it's something that I really value. You learn the value of collaboration, because in this day and age, collaboration is the only way to go. We can't do things by ourselves, and we have to learn how to ask for help. It also helps increase trust and communication, which is something that again, is one of the values of not just PAAM, but myself. Constraints that you have, whether they're resources or geography or seasonality, really fuel your creativity and your ingenuity, and it really forces you to think outside the box. When you live in a 3 square mile town, and there are, I don't even know how many nonprofits there are in Provincetown, Truro, and Wellfleet right now, but there are a lot. And we're all competing, but instead of competing, we're now collaborating more than we ever have, and that makes a very, very big difference when we pool our resources instead of try to do this on our own. You also understand both the art and the people who engage with it. And I look in this room and I see so many people who are artists, who are musicians, who, they volunteer their time, but they also are creatives, and it's so nice to see so many of you in this room today. You also get to see the impact of cultural work, especially in a grassroots organization. So every day when I go to work, whether we're working with kids or we're playing music or exhibitions, openings, that type of thing, I get to see the impact directly. And after almost 25 years, I've seen things come full circle, especially the work we do with young people, and that makes longevity actually a plus when you actually get to see things that you've launched come full circle and actually work. And purpose-driven work becomes more tangible, and that's how I feel about this community. One of my favorite tangible moments is when I'm curating an exhibition and I've been in your house, and you would probably think twice about inviting me to your house because I will case it, I will see what you have on your walls, and the odds of me borrowing something is really good, but the odds of you getting it back are even smaller. And I will say that there have been days when I've called people and I'm like, can I please borrow that painting over in your living room, over your couch? And they're like, oh yeah, the door's open, and I just walk right in, I take it off the wall, I walk down the street with art. Shoplifting in that respect, it's become really kind of fun for me. But that's one of my more tangible opportunities, is to actually physically be in people's spaces and see the art that they collect, because one of the beautiful things about living in an arts community is that there is original artwork in every space in this town, and whether it's at the library or a restaurant or anywhere, you get to see that firsthand. And so that becomes one of the unique pieces of this community, is the idea that you can interact in people's spaces, and then lots of times it ends up in the museum. But here are the things that give me hope now, because we are in a time of uncertainty, and our world feels very fragile right now. Headlines carry more weight than our hearts can bear. We often look for something steady, something that reminds us of who we are, where we've been, and what we're still capable of becoming, and that something is art. The arts have always been the soul of society. They speak when words fail. They heal when medicine cannot. They build bridges where walls once stood, whether through music, painting, dance, theater, or storytelling. The arts give shape to our pain and voices to our hope. And yet, just when we need them most, the arts are often the first to suffer. Budgets tighten, stages go dark, creativity is quietly asked to wait its turn, but art can't wait. Artists cannot wait, because they are not a luxury, they are essential. Art sustains us. It inspires children to dream beyond their circumstances. It brings communities together across the differences. It challenges systems, comforts the weary, and sparks the imagination that drives innovation. A society with art is not just quiet, it's lost. So now, more than ever, it's up to us to support the arts, not out of charity, but out of recognition, not as an afterthought, but as a priority. Every ticket that you buy, gallery or museum that you visit, every artist that you know, it all keeps the heartbeat of culture alive. Let us be the generation that chose to invest in beauty, in expression, in truth, not despite uncertainty, but because of it. Because when everything else feels unsure, the arts remind us what remains, our shared humanity. Let's not just survive these times, let's make something meaningful from them. Support the arts, support the soul of who we are, and the fact that we're all lucky enough to live in the oldest continuous arts colony in America, it makes it even more important. So think about that, when you're walking down the street, because there is beauty all around us, and especially as we move into this season where the streets are not as full and you can actually take the time to look around you, take a class, go visit an artist studio, go into a gallery, go see PAAM. Our shows are really fabulous right now, actually. And think about what the arts mean to you, because one of the things that we get a lot is that, I've always wanted to take a class, but I'm not sure, I'm not good, I can't make art. Everybody can do something, everyone can make art. It's all about stepping again out of your comfort zone and doing something, because you never know where your inner artist lives, because we all have it. And myself, my office is actually in the school part of PAAM, and I hear students all day long, and one of these days I'm going to walk into a class, and I'm going to take a class too, because I haven't taken one in a really, really long time. And when I overhear people or our kids in our studios and in our classrooms talk about what it means for them to make something or create something as a way, whether it's a way of expression, a way to be creative or not, it's really important, and it can really help in a lot of different ways, especially in these times. So that's my message for today. And again, I thank all of you for listening to me and indulging me, because I love to talk about what I do, because I'm very, very lucky to do it here. So thank you very much.
Let's go to a gallery. I now invite you to join me in singing our next hymn. It's number 69. It's Give Thanks. Give Thanks. That's number 69 in the gray hymnal. Please rise as you are able. I'd like to share a little anecdote right here. And that is, as we were sitting up here, Chris said people come to the museum and they don't want to take a class because I can't do that. I've never been an artist. And then I said to her, well, we're going to sing these two hymns. She goes, oh no, I don't sing. And I said, hey, John Thomas says that if you can talk, you can sing. She sang the last hymn with me. So it's become our practice to pose a question based on the theme of our service each week. It can be a topic of sharing at coffee hour later today or with friends during the week. If you'd like to delve deeper into this question, we invite you to join us at our Zoom coffee hour on Tuesday evening at 5 p.m. Please contact the office, Kenneth in the office, if you need that link. Our question this week is, if given the opportunity, would you take a creative workshop or a class? If given the opportunity, would you take a creative workshop or a class?
So this is what I will leave you with today. Like I said earlier, I'm so grateful and fortunate that I get to do what I've been trained to do in one of the most beautiful places on earth. And we're so fortunate that the legacy of this arts community not only provides us with an unprecedented collection of art, and I mean arts collectively all over, but also unparalleled natural beauty. So take the time to appreciate and enjoy what is around you. Art can reawaken your sense of wonder or your drive to create. It stirs the imagination and can remind you of beauty in the midst of chaos or routine. In short, art speaks to the soul in a language beyond words. It doesn't fix everything, but it often reminds you that you're alive and that your inner world matters. So thank you very, very much.